Dude, I'm super excited to have you on, man. It's been a long time coming, bro. First time on the national call, and dude, you're absolutely crushing it. I want people to get to know you. So, dude, for people that don't know you, tell them a little bit about your time in direct sales in the industry and how you came to Pinnacle, bro.
Appreciate it. And actually, actually funny that some guy said that always too busy closing deals because I was literally worried about being late to this call because I was in the middle of an app as the timer was clicking. And I'm like, I don't want the lady to think I'm just trying to rush and finish this. And I'm like, I'm sorry, ma'am, I have to go here. But to kind of give you a little bit on my end here about how I started. So I originally actually am a product of this industry, and that's actually what got me interested into it. So I'm originally from Los Angeles. Went to school down in New Orleans. The Saints suck, but love to watch games down there. And went to Tulane University for 3.5 years for finance and energy. Went back home. My mother actually at the time was not doing too well. She ended up solely after passing away, and my dad received $1 million check to pay off the home for the mortgage. And I was actually going into the investment banking route at the time. And that was something that was of interest to me. And then, down the road, as I was looking at different positions, I had a job offer in my hand for about $180,000. And I was thinking, hey, there's something I actually want to do here, but there's also another thing I wanted to do on the side, which was building an energy drink company, which we're still in the process of that. I could talk about that more later with a guy who I've down in Sarasota. But like, how can I do this, but also be working 80 to 100 hours for somebody else? So my first inclination was, what if I'm doing something more service-based and I had my own freedom? So did a little bit of research. Obviously, there's a lot of sketchy insurance companies out there. So I originally actually had found Chase on TikTok, who's my mentor. Sure, you all know him. Had a convo with him, still a little bit skeptical. Obviously, at the time, you guys were a newer company. Did my due diligence. Everything looked good. So came in the industry with no sales experience, very much fast-tracked my way in this business like no other. Super grateful to be here. I'm currently working out of the Tampa office, and everyone I met here is just great. I think we're doing great in terms of changing the narrative behind the insurance game where, there's a lot of unethical actors in the business, and I'm glad to be a part of, an agency or a brokerage that is trying to flip that narrative on its head.
Dude, I love that, dude.
Unreal.
What a great intro, bro. And I appreciate I didn't know your story about your mom, dude. What a powerful, you're right, personal story. Getting $1 million to pay off the home, dude. That's a big deal.
It
Dude,
was one of the only term policies that actually pays out. I'm just playing with you.
well, dude, that's awesome. Dude, so I want to go right into, so you say, fast tracked your way in this industry. Dude, talk about the first couple months and kind of what it was like for you and also what you saw. Because obviously, dude, that's my desire for everybody. And I'm sure everyone on this call, if you're a new agent starting, I want people to get going quickly and to be doing well. Not everybody does. So, dude, talk about your experience and the things that you really felt like were the difference makers.
Yeah, 100%. So obviously, I'm sure as anyone who starts in this business who has zero sales experience probably doesn't get, rejected a whole too lot unless it's maybe you're cold approaching women or you're cold approaching another guy, right? So obviously, one thing is your mental fortitude, and that's one thing I really love about this business. It really kind of makes you have an iron fist per se, or fortress of solitude, just not letting everything affect you. And a lot of that is just going to be doing reps. So when I got in this business originally, I went full steam ahead. I moved from LA to Florida first thing. So I, dug my ditches before I even had, made them, let's say, just per se. Made sure I stuck to working 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every single day. Seeing what works and what doesn't work, and being around people in a industry that I obviously had not much to do with. I was not afraid to ask questions. You could ask people in the Tampa office. I would go up to Gabe. I'd go up to Ethan. I'd go up to other people and just say, hey, what do I do in this situation if I couldn't get a hold of Chase? And that's actually one thing I love about Pinnacle is just we're all, no matter who you're under, everyone's always willing to help. Yeah, exactly. A white belt mentality, as Dylan would say. Pretty much I was trying to be a small fish in a big pond rather than being a big fish in a small pond, and really just trying to be like a sponge or a fly on a wall. I mean, there's a reason why this industry is so successful, because it's been around for hundreds of years. As long as you can see what everyone else is doing, see what works and what fails, and just try to emulate that as quickly as possible. Another thing I kind of wanted to touch upon really quickly here was I was not afraid to spend my way to wealth rather than save it, because I think there's a big problem here within not just Pinnacle, but other IMOs, where people are thinking, hey, like, let's say I bought a 2-year batch of leads, a 2-year age batch of leads. I'm sitting there like, yeah, wow, I made, $5,000 off a $200 lead spend. Like I'm doing great. Whereas like, I was like, hey, well, I'm not having as many conversations as I want on a daily basis. So I'm only able to write so much. So maybe I got to start bumping the intent of leads up slowly. So like after my first month of really getting to hound and understand the sales process and close a couple people, I was slowly staggering my intent up as I was going, and my lead spend.
Dude,
And I,
that. Go ahead. I lost you for a second. Go ahead.
no. I want you to say what you say first, and if I have to add anything, I'll go ahead and
No,
add.
dude. I mean, dude, I'm taking notes as you're talking, and if you're either a new agent or someone who wants to help new agents be successful, I mean, dude, Ryan just gave you the playbook. I mean, you were. I love everything that you said, man. You got to the heat. Not everyone's able. Maybe they got a family. I can't move my whole family, but dude, if you're able to make that move like you did, just let me be around the fire. That's huge. I wrote down the white belt mentality. I don't think I'd heard that before, but I actually love that.
Yeah, Dylan, that's some sauce right there, man. And then on top of that, I would also say like just trying to get to as many events as possible. When I first moved to Florida, the week after we actually had the pillar lock in, and I went straight to it. I literally just started moving into my apartment. I was like, yeah, I'm going to dip out that week, just being around as many people, picking up word tracks. That was one of the biggest things, I think, to increase my success. And if you can be in an office, do it, because there's only so much, especially when you're a new agent. If you've never been around people in this industry and you're sitting at home or wherever you may be, it's like your level of belief isn't to the same level when you're seeing other people do it on a daily basis, or seeing other people that you have more faith and trust in the business when you're actively involved in it. So try to be involved as much as possible. I'll say that's for sure, for certain. And then on top of that, I would also say one big tip, and that's kind of what I go to, is being able to project your authority. That's huge. And the one way, actually, funny enough, something about me that most people don't know is that I used to, in college, I took an elective, which was voice classes. So they made me basically sing like opera style. So I had to always sing from my
Yeah, we're gonna have to hear. We're gonna
diaphragm.
have to hear that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to end this call off with a
I
piece
had
there.
to, I had to, I had to sing from like my diaphragm, and my voice teacher, actually, funny enough, Gwyneth Paltrow, a year later, was looking about enrolling her kid in my school, but that was a whole other story about that. But basically, he would get mad if you shrugged your shoulders while you were trying to take a breath for air, gasp rate. So usually, I'm always speaking from my diaphragm versus my voice right here, because you sound like you're more of an authoritative position versus having a lower or monotone, or more like, not monotone, higher pitched or more open-ended voice versus, we're getting this done, like, kind of just brushing past it kind of thing. Like whatever you say, it's just one big smoke screen.
Dude, give us the actual strategy on how to do that, because I feel like that's a unique takeaway that nobody's brought up on this call. That
There's videos online. I actually send some of my. I just had a guy who I just got started, who's a personal friend of mine. He already first 3-4 days in wrote like 5 or 8K worth of business, and he's texting me like, I just bought leads, and I'm like, let's go, dude. That's how I know you're gonna be a stud. But kind of to your point, is just like basically, I guess, breathing in, feeling like your stomach is out as possible, and then as you're talking, you should have your like shoulders back and feel like the air is like leaving your stomach, and you're breathing as you're talking. Like that's like, there's videos online. You can look how to talk from your diaphragm. I know that's unique, but I've noticed a big difference on the way that clients respond to things, honestly, which is kind of crazy. It's just that tiny little change that makes a big difference.
It's funny.
dude, I love that. Let's put that in the onboarding training.
I like it, actually. It makes sense. Like speak in your commanding voice.
Yeah, it's like a drill sergeant. They say talk at 110% volume. Like, to me, I just interpreted that as speak from your diaphragm. I'm not trying to scream at the client. I'm not be like, Miss Betty, I'm calling. Like, no, I'm not. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah, Dylan got it.
There you go, Dylan.
Dude, I love that. Bro, I don't want to move past it because you just said it and then you reiterated it on a new agent of yours. Dude, talk about the spend my way to wealth. You said that, and I think it's whenever I see an agent come in and start killing it right off the bat, I think it's not uncommon. I mean, 99% of the time, it's, they came in, their strategy with leads was more aggressive than is average. And I think that scares a lot of people. I'll be honest, Ryan, I was in that group. I'd never been a business owner, and I probably came into this business with a poverty mentality and had to change it. And when I made that switch, my business changed forever. So go into that, why you believe that and what that did for you.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of saw it as this, and actually, I think it was when I was at the first Summit Log, and I forgot who said it, but it was, and I always use this analogy because I think it to a T kind of illustrates or highlights the mentality you have to have. It was, I'm putting a quarter in a gumball machine, and it's spitting out $50 every time. Are you not going to be putting the quarter in the gumball machine every single time if you know $50 is coming out of it? Like, no one likes looking at their bank account and saying, hey, I got to spend money to make more money. But what business owner hasn't done that? That's the whole point. That's why you're not a W-2 employee. So make your identity act like you're going to be a business owner and be making more on a consistent basis. You know what I mean? So that's the real reason why, I got to put money down first if I want to see it multiply, quadruple, to an exponential level. I'm always thinking, hey, what's more ways that I can take risks while still obviously not being stupid with my money, but seeing what are new ways I can innovate or put more money or capital down the line to actually expend my profits even further than they were before.
Yeah.
Or even from a servant mentality, how can I help more families every single week?
Yeah, dude. And I think this is really self-examination for every agent, right, Ryan? Because you said it earlier too. I think sometimes without even thinking about it, I had to realize that my baseline thought process was how can I not spend money? It wasn't how can I win at a higher level. It was that spending money scared and intimidated me, and I was constantly thinking about how I could spend less, not put myself in a better position, a better position to win. And that switch, dude, it's huge. If everyone
And I,
on here, if you could get one thing from this call that would help you have so much success, dude, get that. Go ahead,
and
Ryan.
I'll tell you, I didn't even come from a impoverished family. I'll say that, but my dad, he had a very big scarcity mindset. He would spend money on things that were stupid, and then other be stressing about the small little things. So when I came to this business, I started noticing myself doing that, and I had to actively switch that identity of like, hey, this is not going to work. Like, if I'm stressing about buying leads, like, there's no money that's going to be made, and actively rewiring that. So maybe if you are in that state of mind, taking a look, saying, hey, like, what do I need to do internally for externally to see the results in my life that I want?
I love it, dude. I
Love it.
love it.
It's a great
Joe,
mindset
Michael.
training. Yeah, I got something. I want to change it just a little bit. Joe, I don't know if you heard the beginning story, but I think that story is it's remarkable, man. It makes a lot of sense why you have so much passion and belief into this industry. Now, are you actively bringing that up as a story when you're talking to clients, or are you just having that story back your belief and the conviction when you're having conversations? Because I think for a lot of people, if they're newer, right, this is your first thing, but if they didn't have any experience with life insurance or actually it working, it's hard to build that belief out the gate of what this can actually do for somebody's life.
Honestly, Mikey, you do bring a good point up because I actually have quite few sometimes brought that up to people, and I think you kind of see the light bulb like turn on in their brain, but other times I haven't, and I think we do need to do a better job as a whole, especially if you do have somebody in your family that has been impacted from a tragic event or a loss, and they have seen the events of financially of insurance helping their family out. We do need to bring those stories in because it's one thing to just explain to somebody, all the benefits of mortgage protection, equity protection, whatever it may be. It's another to take someone from a zero to a certain price every month. It's another to take someone from, a couple, like thousands of dollars down to, hey, $100 a month is what I need to do to protect my family. And that's kind of when you see the real switch. And that's any sales. That's not just life insurance. Any good sales rep will tell you that. A good sales rep can explain all the benefits in every detail of the product. The best sales reps will be able to tell you why, a business owner is spending $15,000 a month. They only have to pay a one-time fee of $1,000, what that's going to save them. The business owner is going to say yes every single time, obviously. So I think we do need to be more concurrent and proactive about telling stories, especially if we do have them. If not, use other people's stories, like use my story. It doesn't matter, that storytelling is a big way to appeal to the emotional side of things, for sure.
Dude, I fully agree. And I think it's so important. It's like to leverage those stories in situations like there's been crazy ones, even my limited time in the business. I've seen it change people's lives, and there's other situations where people might not be moving forward. Like we just had Jesse post in the manager's chat the other day, a client who sold a policy. They backdated the premium. The policy didn't go into effect. The husband passed away in that 2-week buffer time period. So it's like when we were talking about the urgency or the ability to actually push that sale forward, it's like these are real life examples and real stories that can be leveraged to your clients, because it's not something that you get to touch or sense or feel until it's that day.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't tell you how many times there's been a couple times where I've talked to clients and, they something was wrong with the premiums or their bank info or whatever. And, they said like, hey, let's just you can call me back in a couple of days to get this sorted. I'm busy right now. And then call them 2 weeks later. And then they're telling me, hey, like my wife just got out of the hospital and, they might not even be able to qualify for the coverage that they had before. So they're actively putting themselves in a worse position by putting that down the line. I actually had a client of mine one time who I had qualified for an IUL. He had a problem with the premiums going through, so that he actually got in a work accident. Not only did he not get covered, but we actually had to end up, he understood that, and thankfully he understood completely that was a result of his own doing, but had to actually write him graded coverage because no other carrier would give him day one coverage after that. So he actively missed out on those living benefits that would have helped him in this particular circumstance. That's why I'm always telling people when I'm on the phone with them, unless it's really a financial situation, because obviously our job is to help people, not hurt them, is really explain to them, like, we want to ensure there's no gap in coverage from the time that you're getting the policy packet in the mail from having coverage in effect, because who knows what could happen between them. The only person that knows is God, so respectfully.
Unreal. It's great. Joe, you got anything?
I'm just enjoying listening in. Ryan, dude, always a pleasure. You're one of those people that I love being around because your energy is contagious.
I appreciate it, man. When I'm passionate about something, I'm fully in. I'm not halfway in, halfway out.
I love it. I missed the beginning. I was trying to wrap up another call, but Ryan, when did you start with us?
I started back in September. So if I had to guess, about 8-9 months now. It's about the time from, yeah.
You definitely got off to a faster start than about 99.9% of other agents.
Yeah,
there's no doubt.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Ryan, like, this might have been asked, so if it was already asked and I missed it, I'm just genuinely curious. Like, what do you attribute? Was it a mix of spending an obscene amount on leads to kind of like earn your education? Were you like obsessing over the process and the scripts and all of that? Was it just like an undeniable amount of work? Was it a combination of all of the above? But if pretend that I'm a brand new agent and I'm a month or two in and I'm really, really struggling, what conversation are you having with me to try and get the dots to connect the way they did for you?
Yeah, I would say all the above. I mentioned this to Gabe and Mikey and everybody else on the call, but also my conviction and belief level, because particularly I said this, my mother actually over a year ago passed away, and my family did receive $1 million check to pay off the mortgage on the home. So my belief level is a lot higher than most people. So It shows through my conviction as well. But if, say, it's a new agent, they don't have a personal story like that. And I obviously talked about leveraging even other people's stories as well.
Sure.
But the main conversation and what I've noticed when I've tried to bring people on in this business is not just the identity problem of, what you're willing to spend, but a big thing I noticed, especially because obviously insurance attracts a lot of younger people as well, is the accountability. A lot of people will tell me, like, I'll talk to an agent and he's like, well, I'm kind of having a hard time right here. And, I only have, maybe $500 in my bank account. And I'm like talking to him and trying to understand what the problem going on is. And he's telling me, like, I'm like, hey, I know you just bought a batch of leads. You bought like 300 of them. How many of them did you go through? And this was like a week. He started on Monday dialing those leads. He's like, oh, well, I kind of only went through, maybe like 100 out of the 250. And I'm sitting there like, dude, there's your problem. Like, you're not working. You're not working. Like, it's great to have freedom, but you're not working. You may say you're working, but if you're not tracking exactly what you're doing, like, I would have already bought new leads on Tuesday or Wednesday. Like, I would have dialed them at least twice or three times. If I was really that need of a pinch, I mean, your sense of urgency should be 5 times what someone who's a top producer is, because at least they have systems. Like myself, I don't even dial anymore. I just run appointments. But if you're brand new, that sense of urgency should be strong. I'm sitting, when I got in this business, I'm like, how do I get to the top as fast as possible, and really just trying to put my head and dig it in the sand.
I love that, dude. I couldn't agree more. And ultimately, if you're working with people that are dead broke and their backs against the wall and they're not hungry enough to just become obsessed, once they kind of get some breathing room, they're not going to get any more obsessed. And so when I look at somebody and if I'm mentoring someone, and Ryan, I'm sure you feel the same way. If I see that as a negative quality in the person that I'm trying to work with, here's what I see most people do, which is wrong. They're scared to lose the agent, and so they kind of they're too soft. Like, let me help you. Let me buy you some leads. Let me do this. Let me do that. It's like, once you set that behavioral standard, now you're really in trouble. Now it's like, we all went to school, and we went to school with those rich kids that were super spoiled, never worked for anything, and they were just like a menace to society. Like, that's what you're going to create with your agent force. And so, like, I look at it and I go, all right, I got like a really short window to try and change their thinking. Because one of two things is true. Either they're going to be an absolute nightmare and suck the energy out of my soul if I have to work with them for the next 3 years with that kind of a mindset. And if that's the case, I'd rather lose them now. Or I got to change the way they think quickly. And the only way I can do that is with like tough love, like honesty, and like brutal honesty. And brutal honesty doesn't mean you got to be like,
mean. Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
You could be really honest and nice with the honesty. And I think that's really, really key. I had 2 conversations this past week that, like, even sitting in my seat, and a lot of you guys are successful in your seat as agency owners and builders, sometimes we got to be reminded of the small things. So I was at a lock-in in Georgia, and I heard Robin Hill, who people would be surprised to hear Robin say this. But Robin was like a year and a half into this business, had issued a ton of business, but went through like a slow season. And she said in front of the group she was training, she's like, I just made a decision that I was going to take 2 or 3 weeks to go DoorDash so I can make a few $1,000s so that I can come back in the right way into the business. So, like, she didn't ask somebody for a loan. She didn't complain about it. She just went and figured it out because she was hungry enough to go figure it out. And then I was on a recruiting call with Kara this past week, and I'm talking to 2 agents from a different organization and like major producers at that organization. And I go, well, tell me what you're doing right now. And they're like, well, right now we get like 20 leads, 25 leads a week. And like over half of them have numbers that don't work. And I'm like, so you got like 10, 12 leads a week? Our agents get like hundreds and they complain. I'm like, so how did you do like $500,000 of production? They're like, oh, we just work referrals like crazy. Like we're really, really good at talking to our book of business, and the good leads that we do have, we just get a ton of referrals off of those. And so like you figure out quickly when you talk to people, there are certain people that just have the I'm going to freaking get it done attitude. And there are other people that are going to blame everybody but themselves, and they're just going to try to escape the hard work that's going to get them where they're trying to go. And we want to work with the get her done type people. So hopefully that makes sense. Ryan, when you look at this business, here's a question for you. You're 8 months in, 7, 8 months in.
Yeah.
You're top 10 in production in Pinnacle for the year. So hats off to you.
Number
Appreciate
three,
it.
to be exact.
That's number what, Mike?
3 to be exact.
Number 3. You're top 3. Screw top 10. You're top 3. You got to keep that up, because why would you want to be number 3? That means you're the second, third.
I got quite a ways to go. I got quite a ways to go with Damon, but I'll try to get at least number 2 for that for sure.
Dude, I'm just messing with you. But when you look at where you're trying to go, and bro, I'll be honest, I did not have my same, like your experience first year in sales is not typical. To come in and be top 3 in your first 8 months is kind of crazy. So clearly God likes you a little bit more than the rest of us. But in all seriousness, when you think about the future, what are you laser focused on right now to continue growing your business?
Yeah, I'm really laser focused on right now, and I've had conversations with other people within Pinnacle of especially obviously the mortgage, like selling mortgage protection, building an agency, but also working in advanced markets. I mean, I have a financial background. I really think I would be a great annuity producer, as well as I also think I would be great for IBC. My family does come from the background of entertainment, so obviously have those connections to plug into and use them as a resource, but also and have referrals based off of that. Based off of that.
Oh no! Oh no! Don't read the chat. Sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
No, I'm laughing at it. It's all
cool.
good. I'm actually a Messianic Jew, so I'm a Jew for Jesus, but that's a whole other story.
Here we go.
But on top of that, just pretty much leveraging that network and being able to cast the vision to other agents within the industry. So pretty much like defined benefit plans, starting to be able to do stuff like that, or finding new ways to leverage IBC. I actually have an idea I'm working on right now that I think would change the game for business owners in terms of IBC once I finally get my contracts, and that's in the works right now. So, but I'm really excited about that because it would reduce the tax liability for a business owner for their employees significantly, and finding a way to streamline that would be huge.
I literally got mine signed with Chris Gandy on Friday night at like 10 o'clock. So big fan. And I think you would absolutely kill it, dude.
Thanks. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely kill it. I talk to people out there like, what should I do? Should I just continue becoming a better salesperson and learn how to sell different products and make a couple $1 million a year that way? Or should I build a team? I'm like, who said it was an either or situation, bro? Like, why would you not do both? Why would you not do both?
Sounds like they're not hungry enough.
They're not hungry enough, dude. I think sometimes it's not that they're not hungry, in fairness. I think sometimes people have fear of failure and they have their own insecurity about what they could handle. And we just got to get them past that, because I think that most people are way more capable than what they think they are. They just need somebody to kind of breathe some life into their dreams and help them understand that they can do it. And Ryan, you're blessed because you don't struggle with that. You know that you can do anything you set your mind to. And that's why you're finding fast success, because you're just not scared to fail. You understand that you're going to fail, and it's just a part of the journey on the way to figuring it out.
I mean, yeah, I'm 23 years old. I mean, this is the time to make mistakes, right? I'm not in my 40s or 50s. I feel like, especially if you're young, you should be less afraid to fail, because you really don't have that much to lose. This is the time to take those risks, make those opportunities, turn those failures into tons of success. So take that risk, put your foot forward, dig your ditches.
For anybody that's in their 30s, 40s, 50s, you're never too old to make the mistakes. By
That's
the way,
true. This
Ryan,
is me special.
that's not
I'm
me
saying especially.
disagreeing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
No,
not
no.
me disagreeing. I used to say
I,
the same thing at 23. Now that I'll be 35 next month, I'm like, dude, 35 is very young.
yeah.
35 is
More
very young.
more meant like 50s, 60s. That's when you're already kind of like, already like down the road. 30s, I wouldn't say you're unk status yet.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Gabe grew what, 36?
35, bro. Calm
35?
down.
All right,
Calm
calm down. Uh,
down.
I feel like Gabe, you're getting to unk status. Is that fair to say?
Am I? I don't think so.
Yeah, unk.
But you just came at me, bro. Now I guess I guess I gotta hold the title.
We're the same age. So I mean, I guess I'm talking to myself too, but yeah, it's great. Uh Gabe, Mike, you want to wrap it up here?
Dude, I thought that was an unbelievable training. Covered everything from mindset, vision, belief. Yeah, it was incredible. I don't have any more questions, but there's no doubt as to why you're absolutely crushing it. And I think this is a great mixture of inspiration and tactical advice that people can take. I'm personally gonna work on my diaphragm talking moving forward.
A lot of people I've had new agents I brought on. They're like, especially if they came from insurance before, they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, just watch this video. You'll understand. Just give me 5 minutes of your time. And then they're like, oh, wait, now people are actually listening to me. And I'm like, yep, there you go. That one tiny little thing makes a huge difference. Just get your foot past the door.
Ryan, I got to hear you sing really fast. The crowd needs it.
They want it. They want it, Ryan.
Oh
The
my,
people
I
want
don't
it.
even,
Guys, light up the chat if you want to hear him sing like Gangster Paradise in opera, because that would be dope. So, Ryan, what you got?
we'll save that for after I'm done on a summit speaking. How about that? Fair deal.
It's a good
All right.
cliffhanger.
I like
Deal.
it. I like it. Sell or be sold. You sold me. That was good. That was good.
Appreciate
Guys,
it. Thanks, man.
Ryan, keep it up, bro. Super impressed. Super proud of you, man. To see what you've done in the first 8 months. Holy smokes, bro. You have a very bright future. At 23, you're way ahead of where a lot of us were at your age. So admonition, keep your foot on the gas, dude. Don't get caught up in reading your own newspaper clippings like a lot of people do. Keep your foot on the gas, live beneath your means for as long as you can, pour it back into impact. Impact turns into income, and you'll have everything that you ever wanted after you help enough people get what they wanted. And that's the game.
Yeah, and I actually kind of wanted to talk. I earlier actually wanted to talk about that, which was is your purpose. A lot of people, feel like get burnt out in this industry because their sole, purpose. Obviously, a lot of people in this industry, insurance. Obviously, you can make a lot of money, but the times that I noticed when I was very early in the business when I forgot my purpose and why I was in this business, and I felt like I just had to get as many sales as possible. As when I felt the least motivated to do the job because money isn't the core of everything. And when I go back to my purpose and realize like this is why I'm doing it, like I need to help families like I was helped, that's when I'm really able to produce at a high level and people can feel that energy. This is an energy based business, as I'm sure a lot of you heard Jonas speak on. Sales is a transfer of energy that really does apply, and you'll see the difference the days you're moving forward. That's why I said you have to have like a fortress of solitude, because if you're having a bad day and you're feeling it internally, they're going to feel that over the phone, and you're not closing nobody. I'll just tell you that. The moments I felt like that, I'm just like sitting there on the phone. I'm like, yeah, they're probably not going to close them because I'm feeling like crap. Like, so they're going to be able to tell that too. It just doesn't come off the right way as you normally do, right? But that's not an excuse to stop dialing the phones. You just got to maybe take a walk for 5 minutes, come back, and get back at it.
Well said, dude. Well said. Got to keep the energy right, protect it at all costs.
Amen
Gabe,
to that.
close it out, Gaby.
Ryan, this was phenomenal, man. Genuine admonition to everybody. Save this training. And when you feel like you're struggling in a different place and mindset, or you're dealing with agents, like you're bringing them up and they are, like, especially that back and forth between Ryan and Joe talking about talking to new agents, like this is phenomenal. Like seriously, store this one away, save it, and listen to it when you're struggling with those. And Ryan said it. Ryan gave you permission. Use his story and other people's stories, because these are real. Really affects our clients and it changes people's lives. And Ryan, you're a beautiful example of it. Changed your life, and now you're using it to change other people. So God bless you, man. Thank you, everybody.
God bless you too, bro.
Have
See
a
you
great
guys.
Memorial Day.